Welcome back to episode number 2 of the ATM Forward podcast. My name is Rhet Needham, and I'll be hosting today. I am the director of sales for Next ATM, and I've been here 15 years. Today, I'm really excited for our guest. We've got John Christiansen. He's our tech support manager, and I'll go ahead and let him introduce himself.
Yeah, hey, how's it going, Rhett? Thanks for having me. Like you said, I am the manager of our tech support team. If you call in for any tech support or in assistance with warranties, you're talking to me and my team. But I've been with the company for almost exactly 5 years, plus a little extra where I was with a partner company over at OpConnect, some of you might know. Anyway, yeah, I've been, I don't know, seven years in the field, and I don't know, it's been a whirlwind. It's been great.
Well, you're a rock star. We couldn't do it without you, and I'm sure our customers are really happy to have you because you save their bacon, I'm sure. Yeah, so today the episode we're going to go over the most common support issues that we have that your department runs into, and how to prevent them. Hopefully, so their machines are up a little bit longer and cut the downtime. I know over the past couple of years we've gone through a lot. It's been keypad, software,
Yeah,
CDU binding, all sorts of stuff. So I'm sure we'll have a lot to go over today. Let's start with software and security because I know that's on a lot of people's minds right now.
absolutely. Yeah, over the last 6 months to a year, I'm sure you've been seeing a lot of tech bulletins and notices, advisories about PCI compliance, about um, CDU binding, and some, preventative measures against being attacked by RMS hacking or jackpotting, man-in-the-middle attacks. Those are kind of like the keywords that you see. And I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about what those are and how to protect yourself. It's a little less complicated than it seems. I think there's a lot of, it gets scarier. You're worried about your machine, and as you should. But the best thing you can do is just to make sure your software is updated. So a lot of these advisors are talking about PCI compliance, CDU binding, and RMS protection. And a lot of that just making sure your ATM is up to date. So a lot of that is covered by some of the newest updates that have been released by both manufacturers that we kind of deal with. Genmega Hantel on one side and Nautilus Hyosung are our two main manufacturers that we deal with.
One thing I was surprised to hear about, sorry for interrupting, but
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of people, they were getting broken into by just keeping their passwords default. I was really surprised with that. A lot of
Mhm.
people keep their, lock password default, your RMS password default, and that's one thing a lot of people that got hacked, that's how they were able to get into it, correct?
That's exactly right. Biggest thing, once you've got your thing updated, make sure your main board passwords are unique and not, a lot of people who maybe use a lot of machines, or maybe they only have a handful, but if you're using the same password for every machine or just not making them unique enough, that's where most of these hacks came from in the last year. Just leaving them at default or just not making them interesting, for lack of a better word. So yeah, that's a huge thing. The nice thing about, I guess, these software updates, the latest ones were in February. So if you haven't updated your machine over the last, since then, I guess, end of February, I think for Hyosung, I want to say beginning of February for Genmega. The latest version is version 5.
And that's been tested. We like to try and test it before we load it onto the website, right?
Oh yeah. We like, I mean, the manufacturers do a good job as well, but once we receive them, we like to vet them as well. So we'll do a lot of testing in-house on our machines, use some of our local partners to get some field testing. And so yeah, once we put it up on our Next ATM website, it's been well tested. And of course, there's some things that slip through the cracks, but if there's any issues, we're always updating you and providing patches as soon as they're available. So yeah, let's see. Oh, I did want to mention too, if you haven't updated in a while, a nice handy feature that has been provided lately on both manufacturers is remote updating. So now, where the last 20 years you've been used to using USBs and SD cards, physical storage devices to update your machines, you'll now be able to update the application over the internet. So it's a nice feature that you'll want to make use of going forward.
Now, is that every main board, every machine, or is it specific to certain main boards? Just if I have, I know I have some Halo 2s with the new 7.0 board, and you got some that with the older one. Just want to clarify that for the customers.
Yeah, that's a great question. The remote update on the Hyosung side is available for the 6.0 and 7.0 main boards, which are going to be on pretty much any of your CE-based retail ATMs. The older CE machines, as we like to call them, the FOS, won't support that, but those are kind of, at this point in the past, they haven't been supporting those for quite some time, and so no software updates have come out in years on those machines, so that was probably expected. On the Gen Mega side, you've got the ACU 3, 5, ACU 6, and now the latest ACU 7 came out within the last year.
That's great news, because before you had to have the Gen RMS or MoneyView software to download it remotely, right?
It's huge.
And so now you can just do it at the machine without an SD card.
Yep. And I do want to clarify the ACU 3 and 5 boards on the Hantel and Gen Mega. Those older ones, actually, you cannot do the remote update. So it does need to be a 6 or a 7 for the Gen Mega Hantel side. But those 6s have been around for many years at this point. So I would guess most of your machines in the field, for those of you listening, probably have these later boards. But they're easily compatible. So if you do end up needing to swap one in at some point, super easy fix. So
that's great.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know. As far as main boards and updating, I think that kind of leads me into the next thing I kind of wanted to talk about, which is keypad functionality. So we've been talking about PCI compliance, right? You probably get a lot of calls about what that means, and you end up transferring people.
Yeah, we do that. We transfer a lot over to you, but we have been hearing that for the last couple years, for sure.
Yeah, so, this PCI compliance, PCI meaning the payment card industry, they are the ones who set regulations for electronic transactions on ATMs, credit card machines, any of that. And so to stay up with their security protocols, we need to update our hardware every once in a while, and that comes along with this one. We need the PCI 3.0 or above. So that's the PCI 3.0 and 5.0 are the generations you're used to. For Hyosung, they can easily be identified with these tamper buttons in the corners here. Like a Gen Mega keypad or a Hantel keypad, you have similar buttons here that kind of press in. So as soon as you mount these to your machine, these buttons will be completely depressed at all times. That's one of the security features that they added in this generation of keypads. And what this does is it'll recognize if some unauthorized party is messing with your keypad, and it will automatically reset or go into an unauthorized removal state, which will essentially protect you. Someone without master password access will then not be able to manipulate the keypad in any way.
Which there's pros and cons, right? Because I have customers call, and if you don't take it out properly or don't do it the right way, it can blow that keypad, and you have to send it in for repair, right?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely right.
What should they do to make sure that that doesn't happen to them when they're out there?
Yeah, that's a good question. And with these tamper buttons, there's additional programming necessary. So to answer your question, the keypad is in a specific state at all times. So when you first get it, and when you're buying a new one, it'll be in like a maintenance mode, or we call it initialization state for Hyosung. Once you install it and those tamper buttons are depressed, you then have to put it into an operational state called installation state or operation mode for Gen Mega. So that being said, If you want to remove a working keypad and maybe transfer it to another machine, you need to make sure to change that state first. Otherwise, you'll end up resetting it, or basically the ATM will think you're an unauthorized party, and you might lose programming or something like that. So yeah, just to be aware of that state, what that state is for. It is directly associated with these new tamper buttons.
Good to know.
And along with the new software, you'll also get some keypad upgrades, some firmware upgrades. So by updating your main board, you want to go ahead and make sure your keypad is up to date as well, so that you have the TR support, which, have you guys heard that TR31? Maybe, I'm sure everyone's been talking about it over the last 6 months or more. And really, essentially, it's just another level of security to encrypt bank information as it gets from your ATM to the processor and to the financial institution. So,
Awesome. Well, one thing I don't know a lot of, and I would love to know more, but CDU binding. I hear it all the time. I've been told what it does, but I don't really know how to enable it or exactly what it does for the customer's protection.
right. I think, yeah, it can be kind of esoteric in nature. A lot of people don't really know what it is you're doing. But CDU binding, you're pairing your dispenser to your main board located behind the screen, your main control board, your brain of the ATM. This is a really important protection. There's a lot of people that got hit in the last couple of years with this type of hacking where essentially they're introducing their own device into the upper cabinet. They're unplugging your dispenser cable and putting it into their device. And then they can tell your dispenser what to do, and essentially telling it to dispense all of its cash without even needing vault access. So that's why it's really crucial that you take advantage of this feature. What it's doing is you pair your dispenser and your main board so that they will only talk with each other. If they see this foreign device, the dispenser will be like, "Oh, hey, I don't know who you are, buddy," and it won't talk. So it's essentially the feature's been available for almost 10 years, actually. But I think we've been talking about it a lot more these last few years because a lot of people, it's now enabled by default, where it was not previously, and so a lot of people weren't aware of it.
And there wasn't as many attacks, and I think that
Exactly.
really,
Yeah, and I think Hyosung had it embedded for a while longer. I think Gen Mega and Hantel have added it since as well. They hadn't been attacked in that way, and there hasn't been a lot of reported attacks on those machines, but they've implemented that to prevent, as a preventative measure, which you should definitely take advantage of. And I guess with that, maybe I did bring some CDU boards to show you guys.
get your snack bag out and show us.
Yes. So, I guess as far as clearing that CDU binding, because once you pair your main board and your CDU, you can no longer you can't swap either of those without getting an error. So if you swap out your main board, or even if you flush your main board of programming, it acts, it's like it's a new main board, and your dispenser won't know what it is. Likewise, if you get your CDU repaired, you're going to run into the same issue if you swap out a new cash dispenser. So on the Hyosung side, these are the two main boards that you will encounter. These are for 2000 notes, and these L3 boards are going to be common on your 1000 note. So the difference here, you've got a dip switches on these. This currently is in a live mode, and you just have to set it into a test mode. Actually, it's in test mode right now. So 2 and 4 are up, and then putting it down puts it into a live mode. So you essentially make that setting change and hit the reset button and reinitialize your machine, and they'll repair to each other.
So that's anytime you're switching a dispenser out or a main board out, you're going to have to do that if you do the CDU binding.
Exactly. This is probably our most frequent call. We get on a Hyosung machine, you'll get a 400BC error. On a Gen Mega, you'll get a C008A. I can go over that in a little bit, but I did want to mention on these L3 boards, instead of a dip switch, you've got these metal pins that you have to jump. So you see this blue jumper I just removed. This is a live mode. If you have it in a test mode, you just slide the jumper over those rightmost pins, just like so. So when you do the reset procedure, you simply put it into a test mode, reset it, reset the board, put it back into a live mode, and then reinitialize your machine. So pretty simple. We have some physical guides, and so if obviously you may not remember everything from this podcast, but we've got some great guides, and if you need assistance, we can walk you through that over the phone. Similarly, on the Gen Megas, they don't call it CDU binding, really, I don't think. They call it CDU normal mode and CDU secure mode. But similarly, you've got a set of 4 dip switches. This is a normal mode, and to go into a secure mode, you go into your device setup menu, which many of you will know pretty well at this point. You'll hit firmware download to download new firmware to the board, and it will actually walk you through step by step. It will take you through some dip switch adjustment changes and resetting the board, and then you'll finalize with reinitialization, and you'll get the same result. It's pretty easy, and I think a lot of people, once they understand what you're doing, why you're doing it, it makes a lot more sense, and it's worth the effort.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little extra step, but to save you a lot of security, because if they get a hold of that, it just drains the whole dispenser. So
exactly, it's a very real threat, and it has, we've had some partners and people that we've worked with who have gotten hit, and of course, most people are insured, but it's still a huge thing that you don't want to deal with. So, yeah, there's that CDU binding.
Awesome. Well, that's good. Well, I guess our next topic, you've been doing this longer than anything, communication. You started with OptConnect, so you know a thing or two about communication.
Indeed. A lot of, I guess, communication failures, I guess in the simplest form, you're dealing with your local network, whether that's a wireless device or a local internet network router. Most situations, I would say 90 to 95% of people are using just a basic router setup. And if that applies to you, the most recommended way of doing it is using DHCP. DHCP is a dynamic protocol where your ATM automatically gets an IP address on the network. So super easy, hands off. If you have DHCP enabled, which is enabled by default, if you have a communication error and you know it's been working in the past, and all of a sudden it just you're stopped communicating. A lot of times people get power outages, or the internet will go down, and then it comes back up, but their ATM doesn't come back up, and they wonder why. And the easiest solution is just to reset your router, and once that's finished booting up, reset your ATM, and that just gets them to recommunicate with each other, and it forces your ATM to receive a new IP address on the network. Of course, that's not going to cover everything. Sometimes you'll have configuration errors that are a lot of times a result of having old software. So going back to software and security, I would say software updates are probably released by the manufacturers at least biannually, maybe once or twice a year. I would say check in and on your machines and about quarterly. Make sure they're up to date. You're utilizing new security features, but you'll also get new communication certificates so that your processor is going to accept communications from your ATM. So that's a huge thing too.
I feel like software on ATMs is kind of like when the IT department says, "Have you shut down your computer?" Right? It should be like the first thing you check because so many things can go wrong with the machine if your software is not up to date or something's wrong with the software.
Yeah, it's a huge thing. A lot of people, because ATMs will begin or keep working for a long time, but I would say that's a major thing that if you want to maintain your ATM fleet well, keeping them up to date periodically is going to be a big help. It's going to help everything run smoother, run faster. You'll avoid bugs, and you will be the most secure by taking advantage of the new updates. So,
I think that leads perfectly into the next topic of basic maintenance and tips.
yeah.
Because software, obviously, you want to make sure that. But what else could customers do to make sure their ATMs are up and the downtime's a lot less?
So, yeah, for basic tips, just to help you keep your ATM running smoothly, and some basic tips that some people may not be aware of is all within your operator function menu. Uh, if you haven't explored it, I would recommend it. If it's been a while, there's a lot of cool features that maybe you've been doing updates, but not you haven't gone through and seen all these new features. Some of these you've had a long time, but I'll kind of go over. On the right hand column, when you log into your operation function menu or operation program menu, whatever you want to call it, you've got most of your communication settings and host settings, and those are all static settings that shouldn't really change day to day. On the left side, you've got all the stuff that will help you diagnose issues. So one is settlement. That's the one that everyone's familiar with. You use it every time you reload cache. If you're not, every time you load cache and put new bill counts in there, if you're not utilizing the day totals and cassette totals, I would highly recommend doing that. Gives you a great report of all the money that has been dispensed and rejected in a settlement period. It helps you with your accounting, and just nice to have some hard copies. So if you do have to look back, maybe because of some disputes or something, get those printouts and just be familiar with them and make use of them. It'll make your life a lot easier in the long run. Second being the journal, second down on the left-hand side. This is where not only live transactions show up, but any operator actions. So you just logging in, opening your vault door, doing anything like that. It's all going to be in there. So if maybe your location, your merchant location has reported, hey, these customers are reporting issues with the ATM. Maybe they don't know any error codes. Journal is where you want to go. Find those transactions that are failing based on timestamps and figure out what error code you're getting. And that brings me to the next section, error codes. A lot of them, I'm sure, we get asked for error code descriptions all the time. And they're not very intuitive sometimes. So, and the descriptions maybe aren't great either or missing. So if you get an error code, you can go to the report menu, and there's a lot of great information within the report menu. You can look at your most common error codes, and you can even search error code descriptions and even type in error codes on your ATM. So you don't even have to go to our website or give us a call. You can get that description right from your ATM.
I had no idea. That's awesome.
Yeah. And this function has been available for a long time, but I think a lot of people look over it. So check it out. And then the other thing in the report menu that I point people to all the time is your reject analysis report. So if you're having a dispenser issue, maybe one of your sensors is getting dirty, or you're getting a lot of rejects and you don't know why, and you want to make sure your dispenser is running smoothly for your customers, right? You go to that reject analysis report, it will display how many you've dispensed, a total amount of how many you've rejected, and then the most important part is it will tell you why each bill was rejected. So it will point you directly to where you want to go in the dispenser and where to clean, where to find a jammed bill, etc. And then if you've cleaned it, you still have issues, you know what part needs to be repaired or replaced. So huge tip. And then going beyond that, if you want to test your dispenser, test your devices that we've been talking about, go into diagnostics, of course. This menu has your basic card reader, printer, cash dispenser. You can even test your pings to your local network router in there. But section that a lot of people don't know is there is a live sensor map. So on Hyasungs, you'll go to an auxiliary unit menu, and that has your sensors. You can see a live sensor map of your dispenser and your printer. So if it's telling you have a jammed bill and you're like, I don't see any jams, I've looked at my dispenser, it looks to be clean. You can go to this sensor map and a blocked sensor will show up red. And as soon as you clean it, it will go green immediately. So it's a great troubleshooting tool that you can use as you're trying to check your devices. This has been available on Hyosung for a while, but it's actually a newer feature for GenMega and Hansel, and it's really well laid out. So I would recommend checking that out. In the GenMega and Hansel machines, once you log into diagnostics, make sure you read the text in the center, and it will walk you through how to get to that live sensor map. But I think those are some of the major things that we go over on a daily basis here in the tech support team, and things that I think would be helpful for every ATM owner, whether they're new or old. Of course, there's always, the technology is always evolving, so you can't know everything. And that's the attitude we have here and everyone should have in this industry.
They should be able to call in anytime. We're here Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. They can ask you and your team these questions, but they also can go online as well. And we have a lot of that stuff on our website, don't we, John?
Absolutely. So, we're available via phone or email. We think ATM Tech at nextatm.com is probably the easiest one to get. We have a lot of our older ones still work too. So if you're used to using some older ATM equipment, email addresses, those are still valid.
That's a free service. So call and use us anytime. We're always happy to help. That's what we're here for. So
absolutely. Yeah, we love teaching people to be better ATM technicians. And the more you learn about your machine, the better you'll be able to keep it running smoothly. So.
Awesome. Well, maybe on to a little bit of a lighter note. Let's get some fun inside the call center info. Maybe tell us a few stories or funny experiences that you've ran into over the past 7 years because I know I have a few. So.
Yeah, I definitely have a few in mind. I would say some of the common ones issues that come up and that people see a lot, I guess. Funny, not funny, I don't know. Finding rodents in your cash dispenser. I'm sure a lot of you out there have experienced that, and not much you can do about it. Sometimes they get in, and we had a little guy get stuck recently on a local machine, and we were able to save him.
Oh wow!
Which isn't always the case. Took him out back to the prairie where he belongs. Let's see. Oh, another problem one which I encounter on phone calls every once in a while. So on GenMega Hansel machines, you're probably used to the software update procedure where you insert an SD card, you turn on your machine, and during the boot up sequence, it will load all your software. If you're doing one of the full installs, it's going to wipe your programming back to default. So they'll do this. They'll program their entire machine. I'll walk through them, help them program to any processor. That's worth noting. Me and my team are very familiar with all the top processors, so if you need help programming, feel free to give us a call. But always remember, if you're doing a software update, after it's complete, remove your SD card. It's happened too many times where someone will finish programming their ATM, they'll boot it down, turn it back on, and then they'll wipe it again and just
start all over again.
Man, it's so yeah, avoid that when you can. Also, let's see. Another funny issue, Cameron in our repairs team, or I guess he's our parts manager, but he let me know about a recent instance at their in the repair team where someone sent in their dispenser and they removed the cash cassette, but forgot to remove cash from the reject bin. They sent it in here. I think there was nearly $2,000 in rejected bills. Uh, so I
And we
guess,
made sure to get that back to the customer, you know.
oh, of course. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe those are some small tips that you guys can relate to.
Funny, yeah. It's funny you said that about the rodents and the cash, because when I go back to the repair department, I think that's their biggest issue is the urine and poop all over from the
Yeah.
rodents, you know. So a lot
Yep.
of their jobs
No,
just trying to clean that up. So
it is rough, but yeah, that's part of our repair guarantee too. We clean and repair and replace any parts that need it, and we'll do a full overhaul and make sure it's good looking for you. Um, Hopefully you can do some of the hard work too
yeah,
before
it's
sending it in. Share the load. Yeah, that too. Um,
awesome. Well, it's been great having you today. Is there anything else you want to go over that you think that's important for them to know? Anything
uh,
that's changed over the last couple years that people may need to know?
um, I think I covered most of what I wanted. I was talking about taking settlement, uh, doing cassette totals and day totals. Also, I guess a good habit to be in is if you're replacing or repairing a part or reinstalling, maybe you're replacing a keypad or a main board, take some pictures before you do it. It's a really helpful tip that goes a long way just to have something to reference if you get lost trying to put it back together. Um, just taking pictures, and maybe if you're reprogramming your machine, you can print off a print all setup so that you have all your programming at hand. That way, when you're reprogramming it, you've got it all right there. Just remembering to do little things like that, I think, is save you a lot of time.
Awesome. Well, one last thing that I kind of wanted to talk about since you're going to be over it is some resources that Next ATM is going to try and start doing. One of those I'm really excited about is uh, the tech tips that we're going to try and do. And obviously, this podcast is going to be a great tool as well. But you want to talk a little bit about the tech tips and what our vision is on that? Because I think we're going to be launching that in a couple weeks, and you're kind of over that. So
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. It's something we've been thinking about for a long time. And I mean, I guess historically we've had a few. We have some videos on our website, but I think this day and age, it's nice having PDF forms and guides to walk you through programming and lengthy things like that. But when you're dealing with hardware, uh, it's so much nicer to be able to see someone working on the same thing that you're working on, right? So I'm just really excited to get some video tech tips out, and maybe some of what we've even talked about. Doing keypad installs or CDU reset procedures, a lot of common things that you'll want to reference, maybe troubleshooting your printer jams or lots of detailed things like that. So
and it will
I'm
be a
excited.
great tool for new techs. I mean, we
Exactly.
have a lot of customers that go through techs, over after a couple years and things like that, and it's always hard to train. I always say when we get a new or a new employee on, it takes a good 1 to 2 years to really get them up to speed and know what they're talking about. So I think these videos will really help a new tech and a bigger business help their smaller employees understand what's going on a little bit.
100%. Yep. Excited to get some under our belt. It'll be a really helpful tool.
Good, good. Well, before I let you go, I'm going to do some rapid fire questions. This is just kind of fun to get to know you a little bit more. So let's start it off with what is your favorite vacation spot?
Yeah. My favorite thing is just to get out in nature. I love going camping and fishing over these last few years, especially. So that's a great thing about Utah. And we've got the desert, we've got the mountains. So any opportunity, any weekend, I'll take off out of the city and put my feet in the dirt. Yep.
All right. What about go to road trip snack?
Oh, wow. I am a salty and savory over sweet kind of guy. I don't know
All
about you,
right.
but
So some peanuts, huh?
I'll do pretzels, Gardettos, any of that stuff. Helps me sustain more than candy. I feel like the sugar rush will take me out. Um, but yep, savory snack all the way.
All right. What about if you could only use one app on your cell phone, what would it be?
Oh man, these days I try to avoid my phone at all costs. So, as much of a tech person I am, I mean, I have a background in computer engineering. Uh, I would use maps, and being able to get to different places, I think, is the main thing. and I want to delete everything else.
I'm with
uh,
you.
I mean, that's really all I need it for.
Let's go back to corded phones. All right, one last one and then we'll let you go. What's one hobby you wish you had more time for?
Oh man. Well, some of the internal people know that I'm a big music guy. I come from a background of managing record stores, and I still do a radio gig weekly at a local radio station. So if I had some extra time on my hands, it would be playing music and just going to, I don't know, enjoying that side that I don't really get to put a lot of time into anymore.
That's awesome. I didn't think you were going to take it there. I thought you were going to say golf, but exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, John. I really appreciate it. I thank you for all who listened. Please join us on our next episode, and I hope you all have a great day.
Likewise. Cheers.
Thanks.